Hello, my name is Michael Garrick, and this is Popping Culture. My guest today is the hilarious Ashley Braswell, very funny comedian. If she's in your city, please go see her. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me, Michael. I've been super pumped to come on this show. I've been dying to be on it for such a long time.
Nice, thank you so much. Like I said, guys, she's hilarious. I promise you, if you go see her, she will keep you laughing. The topic you chose was Quentin Tarantino and how he's influenced pop culture. But before we get into that, whenever I have comedians on, I like to discuss. I like to talk about. A lot of people like to focus on bombing, but I'm more focused on succeeding. So, when was the first time you killed, and how did it feel?
I didn't do bad my first open mic. Like I had a couple people laughing, but the first time that I really killed was at this show that I did at this like kind of shady, creepy hotel in South Carolina. It was a Corrado show. It was at the Ramada, and it was really cool. It was a really great show. Like we had this one lady who it was her birthday and her name was Nancy, and she kept heckling the whole time, like just constantly just talking or getting up or whatever. And I was really scared that she was going to ruin my set for me, but I just went up and I totally ignored her. And everybody was just paying attention so hard simply because she had been heckling the whole time. And it was the only time that she really like shut up. So by the time it was my time to go up, they were just really ready to hear something different. And I was just so excited because everybody was just laughing at everything that I said. And I just like, I got such a high off of it. And I had this one woman come up to me after the show and told me that she really liked my style of comedy. And since she saw me there, she's seen me. She came to see me at a show that I did recently, and she came like just to see me. And I was really excited about that. So that show was like a really big deal for me.
Nice, nice. I'm happy you could have a growing fan base, so that's awesome.
Yeah, she's super cute. Her name
Nice.
is Allison. Shout out to her.
Shout out to Allison.
Yeah.
Nice. Uh, so has anything you've done before stand up compared to that feeling of killing on stage?
Absolutely not. Like the only thing that's come close is anytime I had to do like a school project or anything when we had to speak in front of the class, I always tried to make my project funny or my speech funny. And anytime anybody laughed at anything I said, that gave me like a really great feeling, but nothing has ever compared to the way I feel whenever I do stand up.
Nice, nice, nice. What was your favorite class project, if you can remember one?
I did this project on serial killers because I was in a forensic science class, and I chose to do this project on the killer clown. His name was John Wayne Gacy. He would kill like these random little boys that would be like jumping through town. He would go and pick up like hitchhikers and stuff, and he would take them back to his house, and then he would have sex with them, but then kill them after. And he had like 30 boys hidden around his house, and by the time they found him and discovered him, he had killed like over 30 people, and they don't even know how many. And it was funny because his last words, whenever he was on death row right before they killed him, his last words were "kiss my ass." And I thought that that was so funny. So I did my project on him.
I think I do remember that guy. He hid the bodies under the house that he lived in.
Yeah, and his house
Yeah,
stunk really bad, and nobody ever knew why until they started digging up and they found like 30 people.
yeah, I remember just thinking like, what the he would under his house. Like I guess he was just like, well, I need to know where the bodies are. I just it but mm,
Good for the memory, man.
yeah, maybe, but that's just his. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad the guy's locked up. I'm glad what happened to him. But man, just to be to find ways to kill people and get away with it. You would think, let me not keep this person here, but
Yeah, in my closet in case somebody opens my fucking closet.
yeah, it's just
So funny.
yeah. I mean, I don't know if they actually talk a lot in prison, but I'm pretty sure when you bring up how'd you get caught, it was under the stairs. Like, oh, okay, well, you deserve to get caught. That's
Yeah, you're a dumbass.
yes, it's not one lake or river. Okay.
Not a trash can. You couldn't have put their ass out on the curb Thursday morning when they come for trash pickup. They
Yeah.
don't look in those bags.
For anybody watching, we don't really know this much about serial killers. We've never we've never hit a body, but we if we did, we would be better than Gacy.
Oh
Um,
yeah, we would acid that thing. It would be gone.
yes, yes. Okay, all right. Okay, I'm just over here. Where we get acid?
The store. I I don't know.
I don't know. That's one Amazon thing where it's like we're gonna
Yeah.
put a tracker on this package. Um, but last question for you. Like I said, you're hilarious. I love when I get to perform with you. I love when I get a chance just to see you perform because you're hilarious. And I'm not just saying that to boost your ego. You are hilarious.
Thank
Um,
you.
a, a lot of people feel. Well, I've been told, so I can't say how I feel because
Mhm.
I'm not a female. But as a female comedian, do you believe that you have it tougher sometimes?
Honestly, no. I think I kind of have an advantage simply because there's so few female comedians, at least in the Charlotte area. And from what I've seen, it just seems to be mainly male. Like whenever I was just doing open mics, it would be like me and maybe two other females, and then the rest were male. So I think it gives me an advantage just based off the fact that when audiences are watching, it's like when a female comes up, I feel like they pay me a little bit more attention than they would a guy because they're just not as accustomed to seeing a female. And that's like, that doesn't seem fair to me that that happens, but it's just something that I honestly have noticed. But I do feel like I have not necessarily a disadvantage, but I feel like a lot of people have the notion that females aren't quite as funny. And so it kind of gives me something to challenge myself with, or at least a lot of my friends were like, females aren't funny, like you can't do this. But I mean, after I started doing it, it was just like really easy to pick up on like what works and what doesn't work. And I honestly feel like I have an advantage as a girl, you know.
Nice, nice. Good. Good to hear. Good to hear. That's really good to hear. Um, so we're gonna get to the topic. You chose Quentin Tarantino and how
Mhm.
he has influenced pop culture. Any special reason why?
I've always been like super big into movies and super big into the storytelling. During high school, I all I did was watch TV in my room. I was a super big hermit, and I started watching a lot of his movies, and I didn't really connect the dots that they were like all written and directed by Quentin Tarantino, but they were just so much more special to me than anything else because he really focuses on the story and the writing and the characters as opposed to like the action and just getting from point A to point B. Like I remember he was doing an interview or something, and he talked about how he likes to write a script where it's like you have the big idea of the story, but what you're focusing on is the small conversation that the two characters have in a coffee shop that tells you more about the characters and about the story than like any other action scene in the movie. Like in Pulp Fiction, whenever Vincent Vega is like talking and he's like saying all of these things, and it's like I focus more on the conversation that he had as opposed to like whenever he gets killed at the end of Pulp Fiction. Like I care more about whatever he had to say in a diner than at the end whenever he's shot and he's dead. And it's like you know more about him from that conversation in the diner with Samuel L. Jackson than you do from just any other action scene in the movie. And that's just something that I always thought was so cool about Quentin Tarantino is he can make you see so many different things as opposed to just like the basic Hollywood that we have today, where it's just like a bunch of CGI and making everything look cool as opposed to the actual story.
Nice, nice. I completely agree. I'm a big fan of Quentin Tarantino. Also, the
Mhm,
guy has definitely changed cinema, which
mhm.
is wild because as much as I say he changed cinema, he's definitely not scared to be like, no, I got influenced by this person, that person. And later on we'll talk about Blaxploitation, but how he's actually was influenced by that and made his own Blaxploitation movie. Do we call it Blaxploitation? Yeah, it's still Blaxploitation.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I did a little research.
Mhm.
Uh, did you know that he wrote his first screenplay at 14?
I knew that he started writing young, but I didn't know it was at 14. No, I knew that he like worked in a video store in California and he would
Yeah.
always like recommend movies to new people. And that was like his way of influencing people. I knew that he got a lot of his influence from like spaghetti Western movies.
Yeah.
And I really do respect how much he's willing to like give credit to all of these old movies that most people just have not heard of at all, including
Yes.
me.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Uh, but I wanted to make sure I said the name because he's 14, remember, but
Mhm.
this is a 14-year-old like naming a screenplay and it's amazing. It was
Mhm.
called Captain Peach Fuzz and Apogee Bandit. So it was
What was
supposed
it
to be
about?
I couldn't find that, but it was supposed to be kind of like some Smokey and the Bandit. It was supposed to kind of have the same theme. Uh
Yeah.
so that's what he was playing off of. And you brought up the video store. He worked at
Mhm.
video archives. I'm sorry, video archives. And
Yeah,
apparently, what he would do was he would look at what movies people rented, and that's how he kind of based the movies that he wanted to make. Because he's like, okay, if this many people rent this movie or this type of movie, then I should definitely try to make something similar. So it definitely
yeah,
helped his career. Um,
yeah. I can only imagine him still working at a video store and us not having the archive of entertainment we have from him.
yes, apparently it was came close to being that way. Believe it or not, he's very famous for saying that his 20s were not fun. Like he didn't really blow up till he was 30,
Yeah.
till his 30s. Like he was dead broke. I read one thing where he was so broke that he spent a night in jail because he couldn't pay for tickets.
Oh, yeah. That'll get you, man. Those tickets, they'll be like $600 for just something small, and then that's all the money that you have.
Yes, and now he's worth 90 million. So that's
Big
yeah.
difference.
Yes, yes. Uh, I love his writing. He's not also scared to use the F word. Um, apparently, he used the F word 265 times in Pulp Fiction.
I believe it. I believe it. That's so funny. Yeah, he has like such strong language and such strong violence. It and people like critics or people that he worked with in the past would be like, you need to tame this down or you need to like not say this word as much. And he would always just like stand strong in his beliefs. And it's like, no, like for the sake of my story, you're not gonna ruin like what I'm meant to create by making it more PG for an audience. If it's my audience, they'll like it regardless. And if they're true fans of like film and cinema, they should be able to understand that this is a movie and I'm not trying to depict something insane with this fake story.
Yes. And he follows, even before that, he said the F word 272 times in Reservoir Dogs. So he's not scared to use that. I try to find how many times he's said the N word in movies, but I could not find that number. Um,
Oh, especially in Django.
it's a good bit, yes, especially Django, and he finds ways to get it in there. And I've noticed a lot of people do get upset about it, but in my opinion, I truly feel like for starters, I don't believe he's racist at all, and I do like the fact that he's like, this is how people talked. When he,
Mm-hmm.
plus, I give him credit because in Pulp Fiction, he was like, all right, guys, I'll say it. I don't need to, I'll say it. Don't worry about anybody else
Yeah.
saying it. And then in Reservoir Dogs,
They said it
he had,
like 3 or 4 times, I think.
yes, yep, but it was still that time period, and that's what people would say. So I
Mm-hmm.
don't think that was anything to discredit. And like you said, when it came to Django, it was just like we can't have these people saying, well, black people wouldn't say it wouldn't be believable.
Yeah, because that's just not the way it was. That's not how they treated black
Yes,
people. They treated them
yes,
like they were nothing. And it's like he really wanted to depict the truth of that story. And it's like, I mean, Jamie Foxx is the main character and he like won, like
yeah,
he got his woman back and he killed so many slavers and everything. It was like you can't get mad at him for using the N-word when it's like Jamie Foxx like destroyed the whole plantation of
yeah.
Candyland and like saved the day. It was such a great movie.
Exactly. Whenever somebody's be like, "Man, how can you watch that movie?" I was like, "Sir, I can watch a black man whip slave owners on repeat over and over again."
In a blue suit.
Yes,
That suit was amazing. Little boy
yes,
in
for real.
blue.
When I saw it, I was just like, only Jamie Foxx. Like, it's only a few people that could pull that off and like make it still look cool. Like, I was just like, that was done well. We talked about Django, Kill Bill, in can't pronounce it. I apologize.
Mhm.
Bastards.
Inglorious Bastards.
Thank you. Inglourious
Mhm.
Bastards. A lot of his movies are revenge theme. Do you
Mhm.
like? Do you like that? That kind those type of movies when it's just revenge based and it's just straight up like I gotta get payback.
I do. I like when things are balanced and I like when people kind of get what's coming to them, especially in the right way when someone has been done wrong so badly and they have the capability to take things into their own hands as opposed to doing like, the realistic thing of like going to court or whatever. Like I love in Kill Bill how got her ass beat and was in a coma for 3 or 4 years after Kill Bill came and like beat her up whenever she was going to marry somebody else. And then she woke up and she immediately started getting revenge, like immediately. Like the nurse who would take care of her in the coma would let guys come in and rape her, and she woke up and she got that memory back, and as soon as she knew that they were coming back into the room, she killed them with her legs still basically paralyzed. So she immediately got revenge, and then she immediately went to go and kill every single person that took her daughter from her and took the life that she should have had. So yeah, I really do like that kind of thing.
Yeah. Now we're gonna get to the gore.
Okay.
He apparently he's been up to maybe 200 gallons in few movies when it comes to fake blood. Uh like that, and it's wild, but
Mhm.
I can't lie. I truly think it works. That one thing that I would say about Marvel movies, especially like even X-Men movies, when you
Mhm.
see somebody like even Wolverine, for instance, when you saw him like stab people with like the whatever sword, knives, whatever coming out his
His
hand,
claws or whatever.
yeah, and there's no blood coming out. It kind of takes me out of the scene. But
Yeah, because all you're thinking about is why didn't they just use the fake blood so that we can like better understand what's happening?
yes, but when it comes to Quentin, you do not have to worry about anything. Like blood is gonna be there.
Mm-hmm. He wants it to look exactly like how it would look if it was real. And that's how I like that he doesn't use like CGI or anything. He just uses like basic cameras, basic editing, and he doesn't make anything appear that is computerized. He just has everything be real, straight start to finish. And that doesn't really work in Marvel movies when you have to be the
Yeah,
Hulk or whatever. But for his genre of stuff and the way he writes things, it's so perfect. And I'm so glad that he keeps it like pure how it should be.
yes, yes. Um, we're going to say one thing about it because we are going to review this movie.
Mhm.
But 1992, I was born that year. Wait, how old are you?
I turned 24 yesterday. I was born in 97.
Nice. Happy birthday again. Happy
Thank
birthday.
you.
Um, so up to 92, well, up to 1990, 1991, he really was a broke man working at a video store, living paycheck to paycheck mostly. And then he finally gets the rights to write a screenplay and then direct Reservoir Dogs. Like that is a long time to be adult. Like we do stand up comedy right now. I'm 29. I'll be 30 in January. I just started doing comedy about 4.5, 5 years ago. I
Mhm.
couldn't imagine being like starting at 14 and like really keeping that drive. I would hope something pops off before before
Yeah.
10 years from now. But that's just know you're living in your passion when he did not give up for that many years.
Yeah, yeah, like that to me is so cool because that really like I looked at his career and it just taught me like never give up. Like as long as you're always trying and always working at it, something will come of it. Like you can only be so lucky, but if so many people see how hard you work and they like get just a little bit of a taste of what you can do, people tend to want to help you or they tend to want to boost you up, but you just have to keep proving that you're willing to work at it and try to succeed. Like as soon as you stop something, you've given up all chance of ever being successful in it. So as long as you just keep doing it, something can happen for you.
Yes. I want to go. I forgot to ask, but I want to go ahead and get this question out the way. You think he has a fetish for feet?
Yeah, absolutely. No doubt in my mind. If he doesn't, I don't understand any of his movies.
Okay. um, when it comes to, he doesn't like to have real brands in his movies. He likes to
Mhm.
have his imaginary brand, um, like Red Apple cigarettes and
Yeah.
um, which if you remember any other brand titles, which one for you was just like that's an outrageous name?
I mainly just remember the Red Apple brand, but there were a couple things. I'm trying to think. He used something in Pulp Fiction. I can't remember what it was. I don't know. I should look that up, some of his brands. I'm gonna do that now.
Oh, okay. Um, he's
Ew.
credited. I like the headphones, by the way.
Oh, thank you. They were
Yeah.
nice. They were like $50 or something at Best Buy, I think.
Oh, nice, nice, nice. Yeah, I'm gonna get there. These were five, so I'm gonna get there one day.
Oh, the Big
Um,
Kahuna Burger
yes, the
from
big
Pulp
Kahuna.
Fiction.
Yes, yes,
That's the
which is an
one.
amazing scene too. That from Pulp Fiction. Um, So another thing I wanted to ask you, he says that he keeps 20% of his movies up to imagination. That's why you never see what's in the briefcase.
Mhm.
Um, and I don't want to spoil Reservoir Dogs, but that's why he does some things in Reservoir Dogs also, and then other movies. And do you like the fact that he leaves some things to the imagination, or do you wish he would show it?
I like that he does that, like especially in Pulp Fiction, because so many people are like, "What's in the briefcase? What's in the briefcase?" Well, it's like, why does it really matter what's in the briefcase? Because most of the story is not about the briefcase. It's about, Vincent Vega. It's about Butch. It's about, Samuel L. Jackson's character. It's just about everything that goes on, and it's about Mia. What is her name? The actress Uma Thurman. It's about her as well, but it's not about the briefcase. But it's like a nice little like something to keep you guessing and wondering after the movie is over. It's something for you to create on your own. I like that he wants to make audiences think and come up with like a little creative thing for themselves, as opposed to having to be told every single thing that happens in a movie.
Nice, nice. Um, he said he wants to start writing novels because the next movie is his last movie.
Yeah, yeah, his 10th movie. I'm excited for it though. I'm kind of hoping that it'll be like Kill Bill, but 15 years later, because he had Uma Thurman's daughter in his most recent movie, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. She had like a super small part, but just the fact that he had her in a movie at all, that would be so cool because she's at the perfect age where she could be the next assassin, and she could like avenge maybe her mother if her mother got killed by the original like Cobra's daughter. Whenever she killed her mother and she told her, she was like, if you feel sore about this a couple years later, I'll be waiting for you. I
Yeah,
think that would be really cool.
and that was a beautiful scene too because it just showed like, oh, things just keep going in the same circle. Like
Hmm.
this same story could happen over again. So it just I did like that scene a lot. I brought it up earlier about Blaxploitation. Have you seen Jackie Brown?
Yeah, yeah, that
Uh,
movie is fucking phenomenal.
yes, yes. One credit I give Quentin over anything. A lot of people would definitely come in and just say something like, "Well, I thought I would make it better," and he never said that. He was just more like, "I was influenced, and I wanted to make sure since I had a little bit more money, I could
Mhm.
bring it up just financially." But he never said, "Hey, I'm doing this better than the way they did it," and I really appreciate
Mhm.
the way he did and how faithful that was as a show of black exploitation, and also just having it be a black female character, just as it was for Pam Grier and our other black exploitation films. So I really enjoyed that. Also, I think that was the first time I ever saw Chris Tucker in a movie.
Really? Oh, what a bad role for him too. He died at the beginning of the movie. It
Yeah,
was good though. He was stupid.
yes.
That was a good scene though. That really made me, after I saw that movie, I listened to the song Strawberry Letter 23 like over and over and over again for like a week. I was like, this is the best song ever.
Yes, yes. Um, but just to break down his film history for a minute, like I said, Reservoir Dogs, we're gonna review that in a little bit. But comes on the scene, he's hot fire. People have never seen something like that. And then he comes to his sophomore movie, Pulp Fiction. And Pulp Fiction, the reason why I think so many people were surprised that this was a hit, believe it or not, because everybody loved Reservoir Dogs. It was like, can he do it again? Was the fact that he got wow, I should have wrote his name. I truly apologize.
You're
Uh
good.
Grease, the guy from Grease.
John Travolta.
He got John Travolta. John Travolta wasn't like on a downslide at this point. Like he was still John Travolta. So it was like he could sell tickets, but he wasn't selling tickets like before. Um okay, well, you're 29. I'm 29, you're 24, so we can't
Mhm.
really we don't know what his fame was like at that point.
Yeah.
But um just seeing other movies that John Travolta was in, can you kind of tell like how different this was for him?
Yeah, I feel like he plays like a lot of the similar character, like kind of like the guy who just saves the day or whatever. Like I remember in Face Off, you've seen that movie with
Oh
him
yeah.
and Nicolas Cage. Yeah, like I remember like, he just tends to be like the good guy, at least for the most part. And I really liked that he was just kind of like a character in Pulp Fiction. He was just simply Vincent Vega. He had faults, he had flaws, but he just played a character, and the character was not John Travolta. It wasn't about John Travolta being John Travolta. It was just about him playing like a cool ass partial criminal dude who was funny, made mistakes, and kind of paid for him at the end of the movie by not being prepared.
Yes, yes. The just going to how he does his movies. Um, do do you think if you put any of his movies in a linear version, do you think they still still as good or not as good?
I don't think they're as good because the way he does it in the non-linear form, it really takes you deeper into the story so that you further understand the character and their story and their struggle with the main plot of the movie. Like when you go and you watch all of his movies and he shows scenes in the past, like it's not them talking about a flashback from the past, it's he shows the past scene in its full entirety so you can just literally see exactly what they're referring to in the scene right before, whenever it was like going the right way. It'll jump back to the past or it'll jump to the future. And I just really like the way he does that because I really feel like it helps audiences pay attention too. Because if you're just continuously telling the audience everything that they're supposed to be seeing and everything they're supposed to be understanding, I think it kind of takes away from them using their brain to really enjoy the movie. I really like how he does it.
Me too. I think that the way he films movies, the way he tells story, it is some of the best like surprises ever. Because if it's
Mhm.
linear, there's no way you can have the same surprises that he gives the audience by not being linear. Um, I think this is the part that I hope we agree. We may not agree on. We'll
Mhm.
find out right now. His dialogue, I love his dialogue with a passion. That
Mhm.
is not how real people talk.
No, it's not, but
Okay,
it's
cool,
so
cool.
good.
Yeah.
It's so good. Yeah, he always has his characters talk like they're always saying something so important, and I'm like, basic human conversation is just a bunch of stupid shit all the time, but he just makes it out like everybody is saying something really important and really like almost like delicious. You know what I mean? Like they're always saying something that's like rich in language, and that's just not how basic human people talk all the time. There's no time for it.
Yes. We're both comedians. We're both
Mhm.
comedians. How sarcastic are you in real life?
All the time. All the time. Everybody's always like, why do you have to be so dry whenever you talk? It just really throws people off. Like they'll think I'm being rude or whatever, but I'm just trying to be funny and sarcastic, and people take it wrong sometimes.
I I am sarcastic in spurts. I'm truly not sarcastic all the time. I can throw something in to make everybody laugh, but I'm
Mhm.
also like, come on, let's get to whatever we need to be. Like let's
Yeah, yeah. At some point, it's a little too much, but as far as like a joke goes, yeah, I like to be sarcastic. But people who take it too far, it's like, chill out. We can
yeah.
just talk.
Yes. I put it like this. Have you ever been around a comedian that's like thinks he's on stage all the time?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, those people drive me crazy because it's like, who are you? Like, I don't even know who you really are.
Yeah. I love to be like pull them to the side because it's always someone new, and I just pull them to the side, be like, "Hey, man, none of these people can help you get to the next level." And usually they stop. Like once you clear that with them, like, "Hey, none of these people are like helping you get to headliner status." And once I tell them that, they usually stop um, very quickly. Um, but Kill Bill, I wanted to get your opinions on the Kill Bill,
Mhm.
Volume One and Volume Two. Uh, so they never made Volume Three. I remember they were really, really trying to push for it. If you saw a Kill Bill Volume Three, in your opinion, would you be kind of nervous, or do you think he could land it?
I think he could land it, but at the same time, I would be nervous just because of the stigma of sagas and how sagas tend to not go as well as everybody thinks they're going to go. Like Pirates of the Caribbean, for example. Like they should have ended that after the third movie and not continued on. Like that, they had a perfect ending to that saga and they should have just ended it, but they didn't. But I think, especially after the amount of time that's passed, it would be a completely different movie from Kill Bill volumes one and volumes two. So it's like I wouldn't really be nervous in a sense because I know that it would just not be able to be comparable because it would be a totally different movie because it's been like 20 years almost.
I agree. I agree. Nobody wants another Strike Four.
No.
Um, it's um, and just get to later on in his career, the Hateful Eight.
Mhm.
Uh, I loved it. I enjoy it. I saw it in theaters twice. I've seen it multiple times now. Did you get a chance to watch it in theaters?
No, I didn't watch it in theaters. I saw it at home on the internet.
Okay. And when you watched it at home, get your opinion about that. could you watch it all the way through, or did you have to take breaks? Because a lot of people complain about it being 3 hours.
I watched it all the way through. Like it was technically kind of like a slowish movie just because it was more or less one of his least actiony movies. At least in the beginning. At the end, whenever everything starts going down, then it gets super actiony. But I watched that movie all the way through. I was so invested in what was going to happen because I love the way he tells the story. Like he gets to a location, and at that location is where the story really begins. Like whenever he got to Minnie's haberdashery, I was so excited to see like how all of their characters were going to play in. And also Kurt Russell is a fantastic actor, and just getting to watch him the whole time was just so mind-blowing because he just did such a phenomenal job with his character.
Yes, I totally agree. Um, One thing that he really gets a lot of flack for when I did my research, which blew my
Mhm.
mind because I don't see how people can see it that way. But I wanted to ask, since you're female, I wanted to ask, do you feel like he displays too much violence against women in movies?
No, and especially not against the woman who was the prisoner in Hateful Eight. Like I can't fully remember her name, but whenever she would like do or say anything and he hit her, like based off of her crimes and the fact that she was part of a gang and she had killed a bunch of people, and he was literally just there to take her to Red Rock to get the money for her. I think he was totally within his right to beat the shit out of her because I mean nobody else was going to beat the shit out of her for everything that she had done. It does not bother me at all, the violence he puts against women, because women are not like dolls. Like sometimes a woman deserves a punch.
Next question. And one night in Hollywood, I'm sorry, I don't know the correct, I don't know what to say after that. One when it comes to one night in Hollywood, um, great film. If you ever get a chance to read the novelization, do it. He nailed it in the novelization also. Uh, him twisting around real life events.
Mhm.
Uh, did you think that was something that you still enjoyed, or did you think maybe that was pushing it too far?
I honestly like that he did that. I wasn't expecting him to do that. Like I was expecting, Sharon Tate to die. But when she didn't, and they moved it, and they went next door to the next house as opposed to the real life history where the Manson gang like killed that pregnant woman and her friends. I really like that he swapped it out, and they won and nobody died, and the Manson gang is the one who got really fucked up. And a lot of people didn't like that, but I didn't understand why, because I mean that's not what he said was going to happen anyway. And the only reason people knew that it was going to be about the Manson family anyway is because everybody was researching beforehand and putting their own thoughts and ideas on what was going to happen in the movie instead of just watching the movie and seeing what happened.
Yes. And the weird thing is he did the same thing in Glorious Bastards. He switched around history a little bit in that also. I just think when it comes down to it, he's just really good at what he does.
Hmm. I love
Uh
that. I love the ending of Inglorious Bastards. It was so good.
yes, yes, very much. Uh, uh Him casting the same actors in different movies. Do you feel like he should have branched out a little bit more in his career, or do you like the fact that he has a core group of actors that he really trusts?
Mhm. I kind of I like it and I don't like it. Whenever he's like touched on the past in interviews and stuff, he's said that if he's just writing a script and he thinks of a character, he kind of thinks of an actor that he wants to play that character. Like he really wanted I can't remember what. Oh yeah, he really wanted Samuel L. Jackson to play that character that he played in Django. I forgot what his name was in the movie
Steven.
Django. Steven,
Steven.
yeah, he really wanted him to play Steven in Django. And he asked Samuel L. Jackson to do it, and Samuel L. Jackson read the script and he was like, yes, absolutely. And just like he really wanted Leonardo DiCaprio to play, Calvin Candy. And I understand why he does it because he's seen them in his movies so many times and he knows that they're capable of playing out the story. Also, he uses a lot of like chameleon actors and actresses, that they can play any kind of character and you're not watching the movie and thinking, oh, that's Leonardo DiCaprio. You're thinking, oh, that's that character. But I understand why a lot of people would be like, why can't you just cast someone different in a movie?
Yes, yes. Like Tim Roth, yeah, him and Tim Roth, man, they must be best friends. Even like you said with Jackson also. Believe it or not, the reason why Jackson got that part in Pulp Fiction is he auditioned for Reservoir Dogs, didn't get it, and Quentin Tarantino liked him so much that he wrote that part for him in Pulp Fiction.
Oh my God, I did not know that. No, that is awesome. That is super cool.
Yes, so that's an amazing friendship. The key, the besides the dialogue, I tell you, it's like I think it's just the butter, the glue, whatever analogy that keeps the movies together and makes it great. But I really think not enough people give credit to the soundtracks. When he chooses music for his movies, he nails it, in my opinion.
He tells a whole story with the music. Like I have so many of his soundtracks saved. Like I remember in Django, whenever they showed that flashback scene where he and his wife are trying to run away and like everybody's chasing them and you can hear the dogs coming and everything's barking. You can see the torches in the background in the woods as they're running away. Whenever he started playing that song Freedom, that song was so perfect for that moment, and I just love how he does that, especially in Jackie Brown too. His soundtrack for Jackie Brown is probably my favorite for all of his movies.
Yes, I agree. Just even one scene to go back to Pulp Fiction, because Pulp Fiction is my favorite movie of all time. To go to Pulp Fiction when John Travolta and Irma Thurman are dancing, just for that restaurant and the way that they had like the old time restaurant, I thought that choice of song was perfect.
Mm-hmm. I thought so too. I loved all the music they played. I love that they had Steve Buscemi be their waiter in
Yeah,
that part too. Like that was his only part in the whole movie, and it was just like there he is. I like that he does that little cameos. But yeah, that song was so good, especially the way they danced too. And they won their little trophy, and the dancing was so funny because it was just so awkward and just so not like what you would expect. Like a lot of people wouldn't put an awkward dancing scene in a movie, but he did, and it was probably like one of the most popular scenes in the whole movie, if not in a lot of his movies.
exactly. Hey man, shout out to Steve Buscemi. Steve Buscemi got some good friends. He's friend with Adam Sandler. He's gonna put him in those horrible movies, and then he got Quentin, and Quentin's gonna put him in the good movies. So that's good that he has both sides of the coin.
Yeah, always making money, always being seen.
Nice, nice. Um, so with him, like Quentin just had his first child. Good, congratulations to him. And like I said, he wants to turn to novels instead of doing movies. I think you hit on it early, but honestly, he already has a humongous history of writing, acting, directing. Do you feel like this last movie is really that important, or do you think it could flop and he could still be known for all the success in the past?
I think it really is very important because like that'll be the last thing that he ever puts out. So that'll be like the last thing that anybody goes to the theaters to see of him. And if you're not like a super huge Quentin Tarantino fan and you just go and you see that movie in the theater one time and you don't like it, that kind of like taints your memory of Quentin Tarantino. Because it's like he has this whole history of these amazing movies that are like almost flawless, and most people love them and they only have like a few complaints about some of them or whatever. But yeah, I do think it is pretty important for the last one to be good. However, he has such a huge fan base that even if it's not like his biggest box office movie of all time, people will still worship him and they'll still read his books and they'll still read anything that he puts out and they'll just continue to love all of his work. But yeah, I do think it's a big deal that his last movie is good because that's his like farewell. That's his goodbye to cinema.
Nice. And I do not want to leave off his amazing acting. Um,
No, I love that he acts in his movies. It is so cool.
yes, he did not direct this movie, but he did write the screenplay. How'd you like him in Dust to Dawn?
I did not see that movie. That's the only one that I haven't really seen. I need to watch that one though.
Okay, I'm not gonna spoil anything for you.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, how'd you like him in Pulp Fiction?
I loved his character in Pulp Fiction. It was so funny watching him be like a house husband who's like partially has a criminal history, but also wants to make sure his wife, who's a nurse, comes home and doesn't see like a bloody car in the garage with a body in it. And he's worried about them using his hand towels because they were like wedding gifts. He just played like kind of like a little bitch in that movie. And it was so funny to watch him play. And he did it so well. Like he's just so serious about the characters that he plays, even if they're like like a 20-minute role in this 2.5 hour movie. It's so cool to watch him dedicate so much energy into like this small character.
Yes, even when he played in Django, which he had a very small part, but just in that, you can tell like he's having fun and he's definitely giving his all.
Yeah, his line where he was talking to Jimmy Fox and he was like, "Shut up, black." Like I laughed so hard whenever he did that and he had his like fake Australian accent. I was like, this is so funny. And it was such a surprise. I mean, it wasn't really a surprise to me that he was in it, but you never know when he's gonna feature himself in his movie and when he's not. So whenever you see him pop up, you're like, I really cannot wait for the dialogue that he wrote for himself. And it
Yes,
never disappoints.
exactly, exactly. Um, a lot of people criticize directors like Joss Whedon, a few other directors about being hard to work with on set. I haven't heard anything. Have you ever heard of anyone complaining about Quentin Tarantino?
No, no. People will say things that are like not complaints, but they'll be like, "This is why this person says that they might not want to work with Quentin Tarantino." I remember Brad Pitt was doing an interview after Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and he was talking about like anything that Quentin Tarantino asks you to do, you just do it because you are so privileged and so honored to be on a Quentin Tarantino movie. Like he has like a strict no cell phone policy, and his idea is like, we're going to do this scene and if this take is amazing, we're going to do another one, because if this one is amazing, imagine how much better it could be. And everybody just respects that so much. They respect the way he works, and they respect that when like he is so serious about his vision, you should just follow it, because I mean it's proven true for these like 20 years or like 30 years, however long he's been doing it, successfully since 1992. You just trust him and you trust that you're about to like, I mean, people have made names for themselves off of Quentin Tarantino's movies. Like Samuel L. Jackson's big break was Pulp Fiction, and that skyrocketed him to being the Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah, I totally agree. Um, so, is there anything else you would like to say about how he has influenced pop culture?
Mm, yes, actually, there is one thing. So there's this comedy show that I really like to watch, and it's based out of Austin, Texas, and it's called Kill Tony, and it was created by Tony Hinchcliffe, this
Yep.
really like popular comedian, and he named Kill Tony based off of Kill Bill, and his whole idea for that show was that these comedians come up on stage and they kill for like 1 minute, and
Yep.
then they're supposed to like roast Tony back and forth, and he just wanted it to be like an assassin show. And I just love that there's this whole comedy show and this whole comedy scene that I'm a huge fan of and I'm so obsessed with. And it was inspired by one of Quentin Tarantino's movies, even though it's totally not in the same genre at all.
Nice, nice. I mean, that's just, I mean, one of many examples. It was a time period where people made Quentin Tarantino movies where they would try to copy his style, the same way the Matrix was copied in like during the early 2000s. People were
Mhm.
trying to do the same thing, and I can't name any of the movies, but if you ever get a chance, definitely look them up. They're horrible. It definitely
Love
showed
to.
how tough it is to make a movie that's not linear. Like it's not an
Yeah.
easy thing to do.
Yeah. You have to like know absolutely what you're writing and what your story is. Like he writes histories for these people. So he knows, because it's like he's made this whole separate world for these characters and he just dives into it so hard.
Yes, yes. Um, well, that's it for the how Quentin Tarantino has influenced pop culture. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening.